What if I told you the person you choose to live with after 70 could quietly extend your life or slowly drain the joy from it? That sounds dramatic, doesn't it? But according to a 92-year-old woman with more wisdom than most of us collect in a lifetime, it's absolutely true. She's seen it all: friends who flourished in old age and others who faded far too soon. And she swears the difference wasn't medicine, money, or even diet. It was who they shared their space with. Because once the noise of the world slows down and the routines of life settle into silence, what remains are the faces around your table, or the silence of being alone in a room that used to feel warm. You see, aging doesn't take away your desire to be seen, valued, or understood. In fact, it amplifies it. And the people closest to you, their energy, their attitude, their presence, can quietly shape your physical health, your mood, your memory, even the way your heart beats. So today, we're unlocking 5 powerful types of people you should consider living with after 70. Not just for comfort, but for survival, joy, and peace of mind. These aren't just roommates, they're lifelines. And if you stay with me to the end, you'll discover what this 92-year-old calls the most important relationship decision you'll ever make in your golden years. There's a kind of silence that isn't empty. It's sacred. It happens when someone sits across from you, leans in just slightly, and listens. Not to respond, but to understand. That's the mark of a soulful listener. And if you're over 70, having someone like that in your life is not just comforting, it's healing. Because after decades of noise, decisions, responsibilities, and change, you deserve to be heard without being rushed. Too many elders spend their days speaking into voids, family members scrolling through phones, doctors watching the clock, and conversations that feel more like transactions than connection. It wears on the heart more than we admit. But the soulful listener does something extraordinary. They see you. They treat your stories not like old news, but like treasure. They remember that behind your wrinkles and wisdom is a life lived, full of lessons, joy, loss, laughter, and they want to hear it all. And science agrees. Seniors who feel deeply heard and emotionally validated often show lower rates of depression, better memory recall, and even improved sleep. Why? Because when you speak and someone truly listens, your brain responds with a message. You matter. I once met a woman named Elsie, 87, who said something that stayed with me. My granddaughter listens like I'm still the main character in the story. That's powerful. That's what the soulful listener brings. So when you think about who to live with after 70, ask yourself this: who leans in when you speak? Who holds your words like they mean something? That person could turn your days from quiet survival into meaningful living. Because sometimes being heard is the medicine we never knew we needed. The uplifter is that rare kind of soul who sees the light in you, even when you've forgotten it exists. They don't push hard. They don't preach, but they notice. They notice when your eyes linger on an old paintbrush, or when your voice lights up recalling the garden you used to keep. And instead of letting those moments pass, they lean in. You should do that again, they'll say with a spark in their eyes. And somehow, that tiny nudge feels like a lifeline. Living with an uplifter after 70 is like standing near a warm fire. You don't even realize how much you needed it until you feel the heat again. They won't let you settle into the background of your own life. They bring your old passions back into focus. And not because they think you need to be busy, but because they believe there's still so much of you left to live. And science backs this up. Studies show that seniors who regularly engage in meaningful hobbies or activities experience sharper memory, better mobility, and even lower rates of depression. Why? Because purpose is power, and the uplifter is a quiet spark that reignites it. So if you're choosing someone to share your space with in your golden years, ask yourself, do they help me come alive again? Because the right person won't just help you survive retirement, they'll help you rediscover the joy, purpose, and wonder you thought you'd left behind. That's the magic of an uplifter. They don't push you forward. They gently remind you that your story isn't over. Sometimes the most powerful healing doesn't come from words, but from presence. Not the loud, talkative kind, but the soft, steady comfort of someone who simply exists beside you without needing anything in return. That's the peace giver. They don't try to fix you. They don't ask you to be anything more than what you are in that moment. And in a world that often demands explanations, decisions, and constant activity, their quiet companionship feels like an exhale you didn't realize you were holding. After 70, you begin to understand that not all silence is empty. Some silence is full of acceptance, of peace, of deep, unspoken understanding. Living with a peace giver means waking up to a calm home where you're not rushed or judged. It means evenings where a shared cup of tea and the sound of rain is all the company you need. Science supports what the heart already knows. Environments that promote emotional safety and reduce mental noise help lower blood pressure, regulate sleep, and ease the nervous system. But beyond science, there's a deeper truth. Peace makes life livable. I once met two widowers, Earl and Peter, who shared a small home after decades apart. They didn't talk much. They just sat on the porch each morning watching birds and sipping coffee. No forced conversation, just quiet, honest presence. And Earl once told me, it's not lonely when someone's just quietly there. So, if you're thinking about who to live with after 70, don't just seek someone to keep you busy. Seek someone who helps your soul rest. The peace giver doesn't fill the silence. They make it sacred. And in your later years, that kind of presence might be the most healing thing of all. You don't notice them at first. They don't make grand speeches. They don't seek applause. But when something goes wrong, a prescription forgotten, a pipe leaking, a strange pain in your back, they're already at your side, quietly, calmly, without a trace of panic. This is the steady hand. The one who doesn't need to be asked, the one who just knows. They're the person who fixes the little things before they become big problems. The one who sees your struggle before you say a word. They bring you your jacket before you even feel cold. They remember your appointments when the calendar slips your mind. Their love is practical, quiet, and life-saving. And here's the part no one talks about. After 70, the small things start to feel heavier. A stuck jar lid, a complicated form, a forgotten charger. What once took 2 minutes now drains your energy for hours. But the steady hand, they don't just help. They give you back your strength. They give you space to focus on joy, not just survival. They're not there to take over your life. They're there to stand beside it, to protect your independence by catching what might slip through the cracks. Their presence doesn't scream love. It shows it, and science backs it up. Seniors who receive consistent low-stress support report better sleep, fewer hospital visits, and longer independence. Why? Because peace of mind is powerful medicine. So if you're choosing who to live with after 70, don't just look for conversation or comfort. Look for the one who shows up when it matters most. The one who brings order to chaos with nothing but quiet consistency. Because sometimes the person who does the little things ends up meaning everything. Some people walk into a room and instantly change the air, not with noise or drama, but with something softer, something lighter. They bring a quiet kind of magic that doesn't shout, but somehow makes everything feel okay. That's the optimist. And if you're over 70, this kind of soul is more than company. They're medicine. You see, optimism isn't just a personality trait. It's a lifeline. And living with someone who naturally leans toward hope, humor, and perspective can change everything about how you experience aging. These are the people who don't ignore pain. They acknowledge it, but refuse to let it darken the whole room. They're the ones who say, "We've seen worse," and actually mean it. The ones who laugh at burnt toast, who turn a power cut into candlelight conversation, and who find joy in the little absurdities of everyday life. The presence of a positive soul has measurable effects on your health. Studies show that older adults surrounded by hopeful, uplifting energy have lower blood pressure, stronger immunity, and slower cognitive decline. That's not a coincidence. Your nervous system responds to the emotional tone around you, and positivity, genuine, grounded positivity, regulates stress hormones, balances mood, and encourages resilience. Let me be clear. The optimist doesn't need to fix your problems. They don't need to give advice. They just need to be there, smiling, steady, and unshaken. They remind you that no matter your age, laughter is still allowed, joy is still possible, and tomorrow, it's still worth looking forward to. So if you're thinking about who to live with after 70, ask yourself this: who brings light into the room, even on your darkest day? That's the person your heart and your health will thank you for. As we grow older, the value of peace, presence, and connection becomes clearer than ever. It's no longer about how full your calendar is or how busy your days feel. It's about who walks beside you, who listens when you speak without rushing you, who believes in your spark when the world goes quiet, who brings calm into chaos, help without judgment, and laughter when the world feels heavy. The truth is, after 70, the people in your life don't just influence your mood, they shape your health, your mindset, your very will to live. A soulful listener can restore your voice. An uplifter can reignite your joy. A peace giver can calm your nervous system. A steady hand can preserve your independence. And a positive soul can remind you that even now, life is still filled with light. You don't need a mansion. You don't need a crowd. You need the right energy in your space. Someone whose very presence makes aging feel less like slowing down and more like settling into wisdom, grace, and meaning. So as you think about who you share your space with, ask yourself, does this person make me feel safe, seen, and truly alive? Because in your golden years, that's what matters most. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this video spoke to your heart, leave a comment below and tell us, who is your person? And if you're still searching, may this guide help you find someone who brings light, not noise. Please like, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it. You deserve peace. You deserve joy. And you deserve someone who reminds you that you are still the main character in your story.